Hey everyone, welcome back. So in this video, we are going to focus upon creation of groups. And in the earlier videos, we have seen how to create the users. If you haven't watched those video, please go and watch how one can create a user. Because once the user will be created, we'll try to create a group and we'll add user inside the group. So without much further ado, let me just quickly go to AWS Management Console. And let me navigate from my recently visited service directly from here, IAM, Identity and Access Management. Now you can see on a left hand side we have users. So two users earlier we have created, and we have a user group. So currently we don't have any user groups. So let's just quickly create a few user group. Let's say I'm just gonna give the name like let's say some admin user group. And currently I'm not going to add any user. I'm not going to attach any permission for now. And let me quickly create a user group. Okay, there is a one more group I'm going to create. Let's say that is a developer group. Okay, no user I'm going to attach, or I can just simply add user directly from here also. But for now, let me just create a user group. So you can see we have a total two groups being created. It doesn't have any user currently. Just now it is being created, and permission, definitely it's not at all defined. We haven't added any permission. So permission later we are going to explore. So first ever thing is, if I just go to, let's say, admin, you can see we don't have any permission. We don't have any user. So within a user, I can just simply add user. So let's say one of the user, I'm just going to add like a user console inside my admin group. Let me add user. And let's say, okay, now before we go ahead, I just want to clarify one thing. Currently, this particular user group doesn't have any permission. The admin group doesn't have any policy. That means it is not by default inherited to user console. Now, same way, let's say I just want to add inside the developer one more user, that is user program we have. So this way one can add user within it, and whatever permission you will assign to group, that will be automatically inherited to individual IAM user. You can even go for creation of new user. Let's say one more user we are going to create like a John. I want to provide him some AWS Management Console access with I just want to create IAM user. Let me provide password to it, John. Okay, user must create a new password at the next sign in recommendation. I don't want to do it. Next. Okay, now I can add John directly to my existing group. So earlier when we created user, that is Casper Sky. Let me close this notification. I can just simply add this John to any one of the group. Let's say I can add to admin, and I can simply select directly from here. Okay. And earlier when we created user, we didn't have any groups being created. So no group being listed here. Next. Okay. Still we are not interested anything in a permission. So I'll just go ahead directly like this. So you can see the John being created. Okay. And this thing earlier also we have discussed. Now suppose, you don't have, you haven't viewed or downloaded the user password. That's perfectly fine. I am not interested in any of them. Okay, let's say I'll just create one more user like John. Let's say Bob. I want to provide him AWS Management access. I want to create an IAM user. Let's say Bob. Okay, so very simple password I have kept. Anyhow, I'm just simply going to delete later on. There is a one more option we didn't explore last time. So we just simply attach the policy. Indirectly we didn't even attach the policy. So let me just copy some permission. So you can see I have now existing user, and let's say suppose some permission has been already assigned to some particular user, let's say to user console. So those permission will be automatically copied to my new user, that is nothing but a Bob. Okay. So let me create a user. See, new user being created. Now if I just go to my Bob, if I just go for permission, that is a IAM user change password. So that is the by default permission being assigned, but manually we haven't assigned anything to it. If I just go for the John, you will be able to see there is no permission. Okay, inside the developer we have just one user. Now suppose I want to add, let's say, Bob. So from here also it is already part of admin group, but I can add to some other group also. So let's say he is now part of developer group also. Let me create one more group. Let's say it's a tester. In case we require, we'll just simply use it. So tester, and no permission. Let's say I'll just add John and Bob, both of them, to the tester group. Okay, so this way with a multiple combination you can add user inside the group, and as I say, in a single group it can have a one or many user, I mean to say IAM user, and individual IAM user can be associated inside the, I mean that is a part of one user group, or it can be a part of multiple user group also. So if you just have a look at any one of them, let's just try to explore any other specific thing about the groups. So you can see this is the user group name. This is being created at this particular time, and there is a ARN. So ARN is something like Amazon resource name. So there is like a unique identifier for every single resource you will create inside the Amazon. So if you just try to dissect this ARN, related to user also will dissect, and related to groups also will dissect. Let me open Notepad. Oops, not this one, Notepad, very simple one. Okay. So you will be able to see, yeah, it just always start with ARN. Within ARN, AWS colon separated, everything is colon separated IAM. Within that IAM, under which account we have created group. So this is my account ID. So you will be able to see 308771975016. See, this is what account ID. Within account, we have created group, and what is the name of this particular group. Now if I just go to my any one of them user, let's say John. Okay, so John has also ARN. So let me copy it. So this way you will be able to read the complete ARN, and that is nothing but a unique identifier for every single resource. So here also it's ARN, AWS, IAM. Now suppose in future some resource you will create in S3, or maybe let's say some compute related stuff like a Lambda function or EC2. So in that particular case, you will be able to see something like S3 here and EC2 kind of Lambda here. Within that, this is the user, account ID and what we have created. So that is user and John. So this is the way one can uniquely identify individual resource you will create inside the AWS, and that is for every single resource within every single services. Okay, so I think that is sufficient discussion for user group, and you can see we have added two members to this developer group, still no permission being attached to it, and in case some of the things you can add it, that is just the group name. Okay, in case of user, if I just go for any one of them, let's say it is also having some ARN, and yeah, so there is a one thing I just want to highlight here, that earlier we created one user like a user console and user program. So in case of user console, definitely we have a username and a password being associated with that, through which we can enter into AWS management console. Okay, but apart from that, there is a by default access is available, that is through access key. So through programmatic way also one can access your AWS, okay, via your user console user. So in that particular case, you have to create some keys. So those things we'll discuss later. But suppose if you just have a look at user program, where the management console part, we just simply disable it. So console access is completely disabled, but in that particular case also you can create access key, and via access key also you can enter into it. Now this is related to individual IAM user and related access stuff. But by default, on the top of all those IAM user, we have a root account. When we created the complete AWS account, the root account is already exists. So definitely this root account has all permissions, all access available, and through this root account, you can just access every single services. So through this root account also, you can access your AWS with two different ways. One is through AWS Management Console, which is what we are currently using, and there is another way, that is through programmatic way. So in that particular case also, you can create this access key. So now whatever access key you will create, that will be associated with your IAM user. But if you want to create those access key for your root user, you can just simply go on a top right corner, just click upon your name, that means your account name, go to some security credential, and here you will be able to see there is an access key. Now this access key, once you try to create, there is some notifications, some warnings being given that we do not recommend that you create the root user access key, because you just cannot specify root user in a permission policy, and you can limit its permission, which is the best practice. So what is trying to say that this is like a root level super admin user. So by default it has all permission. You just cannot have a root user which is having a limited permission, and you just it is always good practice not to share whatever access you will create via this root user. So even then, for some particular purpose, for temporary level, if you want to create, definitely one can create it, but this is not at all recommended. So this is at a root account level, whatever we can create it. Okay, there are a lot of other features eventually we are going to learn. Okay, let me go back to my IAM once again. And you can see we have 3 user groups, we have 4 users we have created. Let's say in one of the users, let me enter into it. So I can see last console login is never. That means through this John, I have never entered into it. So let me go to my incognito window, aws.amazon.com. I can navigate for sign in. Okay, let me enable new sign in stuff. That is a new UI. Okay, first ever thing, I have to anyhow provide the account ID, because through account ID only individual user can log in. Okay, username in this particular case, it's a John. Okay, and let me sign in. So as this John has a management console access, it is able to enter into it. So you can see now under this particular account ID, we have a IAM user John who is currently logged in. And earlier also I have seen, shown you that, let's say suppose some service EC2, if you just try to access, definitely you won't have any kind of permission. So all those API errors and access denied will come because we haven't provided any access to it. Okay, even if you try for, let's say, IAM, so itself own user information also one just cannot navigate to. See, user access denied, because user listing is not allowed, user groups not allowed. But from here, if you just have a look at some of the stuffs like account related stuff, so that is a billing related to your account, and again we don't have any permission associated with that. Okay, so I guess that is about the groups and its association with the user we have seen in this particular video. So I hope you enjoy listening to this video. And okay, one more thing before I leave it to, just now we have logged into John, and currently with this last status updated, that is last console sign in was never. So if I just try to refresh, I should get the new update here. Yeah, today, just now I have, I just try to update. Apart from that, individual user has other access like, other features associated like MFA, that is multi-factor authentication, and some security related stuff. So eventually we are gonna see. Okay, so I hope you enjoy listening this video, and I'll catch you in the next one. Please, till that time, please do like and comment on my video. and do subscribe on my channel.